enough, I know that we're live now, but I'm gonna ask you about that again. But I wanted to make sure that my husband knew, ooh, I want to talk to Lori about that. He even went to one in perfect timing because next Monday is St. Patrick's Day. He went to one, I think in Dublin, and
wow.
made lasting friendships, as in he gets together with one of those guys several times a month, and they still do a gathering, the global tea break, with people from all over the world. They still do that. So
Wow, that's amazing. That's
wow,
amazing.
Lori, I see my husband, my hubby producer, D. Scott Smith, motivational listener. I'm just going to say, because now that this is being broadcast live, and also because it is recorded and it's archived both on YouTube and LinkedIn, so that on my website, agingbetternetwork.com. So I think that I'm going to let you just go ahead and let these people know what you're about, unless you already know Tracy or Ben or Judy. No?
I don't think so.
Not yet. Okay, great. They're going to learn about you. I'm just going to let you go because we've shared a screen at least twice. I feel like it's been 3, maybe 4 times. So I have completely lost track when someone goes, "When I was on your show," and I'm like, "Show," because I confuse now people that I meet in the same room with the people that I feel like I've been in the same room and shared a table with. So go ahead, Lori.
Well, thank you so much, Christine. And
Yeah.
hi, everybody. So I do several things. I wear several different hats. I own Apple Care and Companion, which is a traditional non-medical home care agency here in Dallas. And we are entering our 19th year of business, which I just can't believe it's been that long. So that's the main thing that I do. But last year I started something called AgeTechNow.com, and it's really taking off, and it's really exciting. The whole point of it is finding innovative solutions for caregiving and aging that are actually available to the consumer right now. Because you hear a lot of things, and especially some of these great shows that we have, and you just read all the stuff about these products that are fantastic, except they're not available. They're beta testing, or they're only available to certain people, and they're really not ready for the public, or they're only available to certain categories of people, or maybe just people who are in assisted living or whatever it is. And I was really interested in finding products that the everyday person living at home could actually find. And so that's what I've done. So I've curated a lot, and it's growing all the time. And there's some really, really neat things I'm doing. And that's one of my reasons for going in at the end of the month to the social media marketing world, is how to get this in front of people, because it's really, some of the items are really amazing and could really change lives. The other thing that I am doing now is, and I don't know how many people have heard of Dementia Friendly America. No. But we have Dementia Friendly Dallas here in Dallas, and I'm an advocate and a volunteer for them. And it's really, the mission is to create awareness, but actual tangible tools for people to use in our community. So when you go to the grocery store or a restaurant, and you can see either a caregiver who's dealing with someone with dementia, or the person who may be alone with dementia themselves, not to get frustrated, but how to help our community become more dementia friendly. So the goal is, and I know we all live in our world of senior care, which is great and kind of preaching to the choir a lot of times. But if we can get this program into financial planners and lawyers and restaurateurs and people outside of our little bubble who get it really well, but to take it outside, so that way, rather than getting frustrated at the person in front of you checking out at the grocery store, maybe you can help them and realize that maybe something's going on. So that's dementia friendly. And then another one, if I can throw out, is the Conversation Project. I don't know how many people have heard of the Conversation Project, but it's a nonprofit all about helping people share how they want to live at the end of their life. Mm-hmm. So, not funeral plans and not what happens after you die, but that period of time before you die. And the Conversation Project, the big deal for us coming up is on April 16th. It's National Healthcare Decisions Day, kind of death and taxes. You have to pay your taxes on the 15th. You might as well talk about death and dying on the 16th. But it's a great way just to try to bring up the topic and get people started. And the Conversation Project has all free resources, and it's really wonderful. And actually, I was just I have a LinkedIn newsletter that I try to write stuff on. And I just wrote one. I haven't published it yet. But on top of my mind right now is the sad, sad story about Gene Hackman and his wife, Betsy.
Yes.
And I'm just writing, it's like, and I know y'all all get this, but had they had a caregiver in place, even for the minimal amount of time, 3 days a week, just minimal, right. I really feel he would have been alive and maybe her too, because I think a caregiver could have recognized, she doesn't feel, I'm knowing just what we know publicly. I got to believe she was exhausted from caregiving and probably didn't even know how sick she was, because we run in that all the time. So I'm thinking, had she had a caregiver in place, maybe they would have encouraged her to go see the doctor, or it just wouldn't have gotten to that point. But even so, had she died, the caregiver would have then been able to alert authorities about Gene. I'm assuming he wasn't taking his heart medication, probably wasn't eating right. And maybe that would have changed things. And also the Conversation Project, did anyone talk about their wishes? And maybe someone would have seen how she was struggling, if she was struggling as a caregiver, because we all know how overwhelming it can be, just being a caregiver, but then being a caregiver for someone with dementia, all alone. Because if no one checked in on them for 2 weeks, right? No, that's what it sounds like. No one checked in with her, or if they did and got no response, pursue more to find out why wasn't she responding. So yeah, I just feel if you have a plan in place and you talk about these difficult conversations and we create awareness and remove the stigma of dementia, because it sounds like they had become, on their choice, kind of isolated, recluse. And I understand he's a public figure. Maybe he didn't want to be out in public, but bring people in. And I'm just so sad. I'm so sad. And we know this happens all the time. This is just very public. But anyway, there you go. There you have it.
Wow. I'm actually reeling back a bit. When you say 19 years, who started Apple Care?
Me and my mother. We started it, in 2006.
So this isn't something that you took over or bought from someone else that was you just said, I see an unmet need. And you also are like, and it's not going to be haphazard. This is not going to be we'll see if we can get someone to, I don't know, like stop by and, hope that helps. You're very much, you're a person that I get to admire, who sees the details and finds the way to bridge that gap, or to, just like you're saying about the Hackmans, right? Gene Hackman. Yes.
Yeah.
Just, oh my goodness. And I think of that, the companion aspect, the person who shows up, because someone that I was hired to go to their private residence would say, I'm worried about so-and-so. Could you just, because usually by now there would be indicators that they're up and about. And sure enough, guess who was wailing from inside? And how long would they have been there if someone hadn't been proactive and said, I know you're here for me, but would you just go and see if you can see anything through a window,
Yeah,
kind of a
and
thing. So,
and I think about the dementia friendly point of it is, what we heard from her timeline. She left the neighborhood. I think she went to the veterinarian for the dog and CVS. Had those people been trained or just aware that she was
yes,
maybe over, and she obviously didn't feel good, right, because of this virus. But had any of them known, even the gate, it's a gated community, so the guard at the gatehouse. I mean, just,
right.
and I know they didn't leave a lot, so that wouldn't be unusual. But still, I mean, no food coming in or out. And she obviously did errands. So just some of those people, had they just known, and have we just, and maybe it's a product of, we just don't know our neighbors as well as we used to either. And obviously don't know how big the neighborhood it is. But yeah, if the veterinarian would have known, the pharmacist at the CVS, the pharmacist certainly knew of his medications. I'm assuming he was taking some medications for dementia. If he was seen by a cardiologist, so you would think he was taking other medications. The pharmacist would know, because you can tell by looking that he had dementia. But yeah, who knows? I mean, no, it's just sad that more things weren't in place. A plan, just any kind of plan of action. And I was thinking,
Yes.
Even if she didn't have the virus, what if she was in a car accident? What if, something, even not the virus, that then she had a car accident and didn't come home? I mean, all of those different scenarios could have happened.
Right. So, and you talked about conversations, the conversation project. So that is your opportunity to, I will use myself as an example. I could write down, I'm going to make it just a much too obvious choice. Do I want to be an exhausted caregiver who doesn't see how they can take time for themselves to get some things checked out, so that I put myself into peril and my person won't be receiving the quality of care and might not be receiving any care? Do I want to be the exhausted caregiver, or do I want to be the person that says, it's not, nobody here wants your sanctity, your sanctuary. I'm trying to say your privacy and your dignity invaded. But we have these choices, and one is not going to be that I can't go on. So, of the choices, do you want a stranger to come in, a neighbor to come in, a family member to come, check? Do we want to call Apple care and companion? Wait a minute, Apple
Care and Companion, except we don't go to
Care and
California.
Oh, there you go. That's right. Do we want their counterpart to? We just meet someone because there's that right person where you're just like, I just like seeing them show up. It's just enjoyable having them come in. I might be wedged between two pieces of furniture because I'm having difficulty problem solving, and I just don't know how to get myself out from where I fell down because I dropped something. But I sure like it when that person shows up and I don't feel like I'm being, babied and, taken care of and pitied. It's just like they're just showing up because we like to do something together. Those things ahead of time is just like, of the choices. Wow, you've just covered a lot. Can I ask you one thing? You said non-medical care, in-home care, which is two very separate things that I've learned really well because I listen to people each week. But you said traditional. Do you say traditional because there is a different kind?
Yeah, there are different models out there. Some are more placement agencies where, just like like a nanny placement, where it's not really through the agency. Ours is traditional in the sense that the caregivers are employees, they're not contractors. The agency is really running the show. We're licensed by the state. Every state doesn't have licensing, but here in Texas, we do. So we're licensed by the state. So there's oversight to the caregiver. If the caregiver's sick, we're able to replace it with someone else. So it's just traditional in that way. The client pays the agency. No money goes directly to the caregiver as we pay the caregiver. Yeah, there's some placement models, there's some split payment kind of things, but we just are traditional in the sense that it's not a contract worker. And that's really important I think it's important for liability and oversight and all of those things.
Yes, and that makes sense to me because having a daughter who's an adult, she has put her name onto nanny care. This is for small children. And yes, she represents herself. If she's sick, there isn't someone who says, we can send in a substitute. So there you go. I appreciate knowing that. You know what? I'm just going to say, Ben and Tracy,
Yes.
I would love for you to decide who's going to say what. For both of you, you're going to have the same links. There we go. Simple words. The same links are going to show up for both of you because you're just down the hall from each other.
That's correct.
And many of the people that I served in their private residence, or they had become co-residents with a family member, many of them reached a point or made a decision, or a decision was made that they needed to be somewhere where there was 9 people instead of 1 person, or that made certain of everything.
Sure.
And I've seen both. I've kind of lived both because I would go visit my people. Client is a correct word, but I would say I'm going to go visit some of my people because they're at such and such a place. And I heard that there's, like a bluegrass group that's coming, and I would love to sit with them. And then we can talk a little bit afterwards, and them meaning just the individuals, because I never told one person that I had served or was serving another person. But I would love to go and just be with them. And it would be a place like Royal Manor that I would go to and park and, sign in. And I'm going to let you take it from there. So what goes on either day to day or any way that you want to describe it? Because I've never done your job. So I'm here to learn.
Well, by way of introduction, I am the administrator for Royal Manor Healthcare Rehabilitation. We are long-term full services. We handle short-term rehab to home, long-term rehab, and also long-term care to your final destination where everybody is going to go at some point in time. And Tracy Mathis is my admissions and marketer person. She does a lot of paperwork to help people get in. She sells us out on the public, keeps up in contact with with our core demographic folks that are coming to us. But this facility, as I've mentioned several times, and I like to stick with this. Many years ago, I read a story by Hemingway about a clean, well-lit place. Now the story, it's kind of a sad one, but the core message of the story really stuck with me, and that is the story revolved around an elderly gentleman who had retired, and he was just needing to go, and it was actually a pub that he just needed to go to a clean, well-lit place to live. And when I got into this facility, or this career, I should say, that was just one of my goals. Is I wanted to be in and create a place that was clean and well lit. The old nursing home model that we all remember back in the 70s, they were damp and dreary and dank and dark. I don't want that. I don't want this to be a place people come to die. I want it to be where they come to live out their final years. And we do everything. We're full services. We have folks that take care of your laundry. We have folks that take care of your food. They come by and check on you, give you your medicines. If you're incontinent, and that happens as we get older, they'll change your diapers, they'll change your clothes. Depending on the level of care, they'll even give you showers if you need them. We have a therapy department that a full-scale therapy. They can, if you say broken a hip, they can rehab you through that. Laundry services. We have maintenance folks. We have an activities department that is just awesome, bar none. Every day we're doing bingo. We're going to stores once or twice a month. We're going outside to get fresh air. You name it, we're doing it. Bingo is very, very popular for all of our residents to come out and participate in. So we are a full service shop from beginning to end, all the way through. And Tracy, what would you like to add to that for us?
So, no one ever wants to bring their loved one to a facility. They just get to where they can't really take care of them on their own anymore, and it's wearing them down. So we hold their hand through the whole process. I try to let them know everyone goes through this, and you'll come to a point where usually the quality of life for the patient improves, because they have a fresh set of hands every shift working with them, and they're not tired and worn down like the poor caregiver. And then the caregiver gets to come and enjoy the good parts, doing the activities with them, the visiting, and we pretty much all become a big family.
Wow. So that's probably the spot. I don't know what else to call it, but life seems to go in a stream, and then it's I don't know, somehow it gets kind of snarled and tangled up for a while. There's a loved one the same age, older, and very often younger, a generation younger, who the way they speak changes from "How's it going? What have you been doing?" to "How do you feel today? Are you seeing anything in the fridge that looks good to eat? Or maybe is there something I could bring over?" And it seems to change from an exchange to more of an examination. It's like, "Hey, you know what? The last time I was there, you were low on toilet paper." And here's this person going, "I don't feel like I need to be interrogated." And so you go through this emotional relationship time that gets kind of gnarled up. It's all balled up, and it's not anything that you've gone through before, because even if I'm going to say that person that you care about, even if you've worried about them when they were on a long trip and you were like, "Oh, are they going to make all their airplane exchanges and everything?" Even if you've worried about them when they had a serious medical thing happen, it seems to come to an end. And then here's this one that it's like, "Oh my goodness, I feel like I'm bothering them with questions, and yet I don't know if the wisdom that they've always used is quite serving them at this moment, or that their body is telling them." I mean, they keep saying there's tingling in my feet, or, it's just arthritis. That's, I'm going to give a demonstration of what I've seen. It's just my arthritis. I just have to use both hands.
Yeah.
And it's just like, should we talk to a doctor about that? I mean, that could get better. It's like, "Oh no, this has been going on for a long time." And it's like, "I think I'm right." And they're like, "I know how to take care of myself." It's tough. So you're saying nobody wants to, nobody's excited about it.
No.
How do you ever have a person who just walks in and goes, I think I might need to move into this place and give me the tour now?
We do occasionally.
There you go.
And, it's, if you've been in this atmosphere, you kind of get an understanding that everyone's like, oh no, the dreaded nursing home. It's not like that, especially not here with us.
No.
We do, they go out to eat breakfast in a group. We just do a lot of things. We also have a lot, like Ben was saying, activities where we involve the family, and, it's really a good place to be.
And like I said, I've been in a lot of facilities. When you walk in, the body odor, shall we say, just hits your noses. And my building is not that way. I've got a cleaning department, housekeeping department that is just awesome, and they keep it smelling clean, and it is very clean. It is well lit. So I'd say we've got 4 sisters out of one family. The
entire church brings their family here.
Yeah. And it started off with one sister had to come and stay, and then another year later, one of the other sisters got down in her health, and now I think we've got 4 sisters in one hallway, just one family. And then a little bit of word of mouth really helps with that, but they can walk in, and my staff is friendly. We smile, we say hi, we visit with folks. So, like Tracy said, not everybody really wants to give up that freedom, their own place. But it is just, sometimes people get to the point where they just cannot take care of themselves, and it is a burden on the caregiver, which is actually another service we offer, something called a 5-day respite. If caregivers are just exhausted and they're tired and they can't do it anymore, then they can bring them to us for 5 days. And that gives them a chance to take a vacation, take a trip, sleep in someday, get some rest. And we've had a number of folks that came in for that realized that our services and our place, the home atmosphere we have here, is actually better for them and their family than trying to keep taking their loved one back home. So that is an option there also.
I did not know about that. Go ahead, Tracy.
You get to change roles again. So you're not, as a child, trying to take care of your parent. You're not telling your parent what they need to do. You're not the bad guy anymore. And sometimes they respond better hearing from someone else. So you get to just enjoy your family.
Yeah.
That can make a huge difference if family, neighbors, friends at church, whoever your close by people, your I love to see them people. They sent me a card for St. Patrick's Day, and I had their address, so I wrote back saying, come visit me. So the person who lives at Royal Manor feels like, you should come visit. This is a great place. And the person coming, sometimes there's a gulp. No, I'm going to cross out sometimes. Everybody has the possibility of going through the gulp time of, I don't feel comfortable visiting. I didn't like being at the hospital when grandma was passing away. I don't feel great being around people. It makes me sad thinking, they're, it's over or it's almost over, that sort of thing. They walk in, they walk out, and they're just like, I just remember some good smells, some laughs, people waving, the interactions, somebody, responding to something with knowledge of, you said the same thing to me that your sister said when I saw her earlier. And that must be the big excitement, and then someone's like, they know them. They're not a number. They are not filling a bed. That is just wonderful. I'm just letting you know that Tracy Shannon has jumped in on just, I mean, she's just cheering us on with way to go. Hi, Tracy. She, I only do one of these. She's got two that I know of. I don't know. Maybe she's got some extra. So she's carving out some time to just visit today. So this is a great time for me to say, Judy and I have sat with her husband at, can anyone guess what kind of a place do you get together, whether virtually or in reality? We were there physically. People always say, hey, let's get together and have, I didn't give you a chance to even think about this. Okay, so Judy's like, can you come and we can get together and have some coffee? And I said to her, I never grew up. I don't really care for coffee. And she goes, oh, good. So we both had chai. But we went to a coffee place that I had not seen yet. And I got to meet her husband. And she and I actually attend. She's been there, I don't know how long you've been part of the Waco networking group. I can count probably this many weeks that I've been part of it, but it's an opportunity kind of like a BNI where you have a few moments to say what you're about. And we knew that we needed to connect, and it isn't, it's a little bit different than what Lori and Tracy and Ben have been talking about it, but it is related on when you recognize that there's a need, whether you recognize that you want to be proactive about your health, or you recognize that my health isn't what it ought to be. And so that's where Judy comes in, she and her husband. So Judy, instead of me trying to make it up, like, I mean, we talked about what you did. I'm going to let you talk about what you do.
Okay. And Tracy and I crossed paths years ago, right?
Yes. I was going to say, hi, Judy.
Haven't seen each other for a long time, but
I know.
we got to resolve that.
We
Take care of that issue. We can get together for chai, and if you like coffee, that's great.
Okay, I'll drink the coffee.
Okay.
Tracy, everybody in Waco, so.
Oh.
Well, I didn't even start thinking about aging. You know, when you're young, you just don't really think about the future that much, or you know, this is something that's not a top of mind thing. Until I turned 46 and realized I was closer to 50 than 40, and I just started thinking, oh my gosh, you know, what do I want the rest of my life to look like? And I looked at my family and my aunts and uncles, and that out of 7 siblings, 6 of them, of my dad's sibling family, ended up with dementia, brain challenges, let's put it that way. And, you know, his dad had heart problems, and his mom had brain problems, and my mother's dad had a stroke, and you know, it's just, I was looking at the family history and I'm going, I do not want that in my future. So that's when I started thinking about staying healthy, which was all of a sudden became very important to me. And I knew that nutrition was important, and I knew that we weren't getting, you know, in our normal food supply, all the nutrients that we need. You know, farmers grow, you know, there's a lot of pesticides. You know, food has to be picked green and shipped, and then, you know, they're sprayed, and, you know, blah. So I started looking into nutrition, and, you know, this was like a long time ago, because I was, you know, it was in the 90s, early 90s. And you just hear so many different things, you know, you hear one thing, no, you hear something else. And it was very confusing.
Yeah.
So I decided, okay, if I'm going to invest in nutrition, I want to invest wisely. So I had heard from a number of friends about a holistic doctor. I was living on the West Coast at the time. And I decided I'd go to her for advice. And when I went to her, she I asked her for what she would recommend as a good nutritional program, and she recommended some products from a company called Manatech. And I'd never heard of it before, but I really respected her and felt like she really knew what she was talking about. So I started buying the products from her. And then a few months later, just a weird circumstance, I heard that there was a Manatech meeting happening at SeaTac Airport, and I decided to go, and I found out that there was a business option in this company. And for me, I'd been a teacher for 12 years, loved it, and loved feeling like I was making a difference for the kids. I did not like the salary. I did not, I'm kind of like a real independent person, and I like to work when I want to work, and just have more flexibility in my life. And so, but also I wanted to do something I felt was making a difference. So I jumped in with this company, and that was 31 years ago. So I've been working with this company for 31 years. Been taking the products for 31 years. And one of the things that Dr. Doobie said to me, she was impressed with their research and their quality. And she also felt like they were making some of the biggest breakthroughs in wellness. So I found out really quickly what that breakthrough was. And, we've been talking about communication, how important it is to be in touch, and we know that. I mean, you can think about North Carolina after the hurricane, or California after the fires. They couldn't communicate. We've got cell phone towers all over the world. If you picture the world, you see the little cell phone towers everywhere. But those were down, and they could not communicate. And that is so important in our lives, in our families, in our friends, but it's also important inside the body. So we're made up of trillions of cells. And in order for those cells to do their jobs, they have to be able to communicate with each other. And it turns out that the discovery that this company had made had to do with cellular communication. Our cells, if you picture the world with cell phone towers all over it, picture your cells, trillions of cells, with all these little structures all over them. And those structures are made of glycans, which are basically plant sugars. And those structures form the communication system that is used by the cells. So when you think about if all the structures are made correctly, then the cells can communicate. The immune system can come around and see, do you need protection? Do you need nourishment? Are you a bad cell? Do you need to be destroyed? All that takes place constantly in our cells. And if our cells have those structures available to them, those glycans available to them, then they can communicate effectively. And it can make a huge difference in your health, in your immune system, in your brain function, even in digestion. And so that is the key product from this company. And I'm so thrilled that I'm so grateful to her for telling me about it, because, 31 years later, so do the math, I'm 77. I feel great. Yeah. When I go to the doctor, they say, well, list your medications. I don't have to list any medications. They say, oh, you forgot to list your medication. I'm not taking any medications because my body is getting what it needs for the cells to be able to communicate correctly, and therefore your level of health can improve. I'm going to give you my parents as an example. They lived in Dallas, where the company is based, and they came to a conference, and they heard some stories that really impressed them, and they decided they wanted to get on the products. And they were 76 at the time, so They were well along in years. And they started taking the products and they started feeling better and having more energy, and it actually mental health was improved. And they did bone density tests at the conference. They brought a DEXA unit and they would do bone density tests. And so they got their bone density tested. And then 2 years later, they came back to another conference and they got their bone density tested again. They both had significant increases in bone density. So that was kind of unusual between 76 and 78 to have that kind of result. And they went on to, I'm just so grateful that I was able to pass that on to them, because they ended up having such a high quality of life. They were 88 when they called Charlie and me. We were living in Charlottesville, Virginia at the time. They called us and they said, "We're going to go to the Galapagos Islands in Ecuador. Would you like to go with us?" And with this kind of job, I can do it from anywhere, and I don't have hours and a boss and all that kind of stuff. So we had the flexibility to say, yes, absolutely. Where are we going? How long are we staying? And so we went.
Oh my God.
They were 88 years old. Okay. They were the oldest people. It was an overseas adventure tour. And we flew into Ecuador. We flew down to Napa, which is on the Napa River Valley, which is part of the Amazon connection. And then we went to the islands, the Galapagos Islands, and we were on this catamaran. There were 16 people there, and we would stop at different islands 2 different times a day, and they would hike these islands. One, there was a big mountain kind of, you could walk up steps going up to this large, long, tall hill, and lookout point. And my parents were one of the few people on the trip that made it up to the top of the lookout point, and they were still smiling at the point. So my dad lived until he was just short of 95. My mom died at 97. We were blessed to have them with us. My mom lived with us for the last year of her life, and my dad, he was really nearby, and we were there all the time, and he had some great caregiving. So I'm just thrilled about the ability of getting what our cells need in order to communicate correctly, and what that can do for the quality of our lives. So that's it in a short story. So
that really, I love a word picture, because I think that helped me to be a third grade teacher, is that the way that I learned was similar to the way that those brains learn when you give somebody something they already understand or they've already experienced, and then you relate it to something else. You're giving them context and what they need. So you didn't mention a banana every morning. You didn't say, make sure that you trim the fat from your meat. You didn't say the things that someone would think of when you're like, wow, I need to take care of myself. I'm closer to 50 than 40, and nutrition is important, et cetera, et cetera. You can, that I'm sure that's part of it too. You can't just say, I'm going to eat popcorn and ice cream every day.
that's what my
Well,
two favorite things. No.
The cells themselves are looking for a way to do what they've always done. People saying, I feel younger now, meaning I feel as healthy as my memory tells me that I felt when I was younger. Someone says, oh, you have an infection, and you're like, oh, okay, I will take the correct antibiotics and I'll get over it. And if I'm not getting over it, I'm coming back in because something else is going on, rather than a person who has the mentality of, well, what can you expect at my age? I mean, it's going to take me months just to get over this one thing. And you're just like, no, you shouldn't. Don't give up. Don't just say, well, the cell towers fell over in the earthquake, or they, the infrastructure was destroyed in the disaster. So what can we do? It's like, oh, guess what? You can call up you can not call, but email Judy Quick at, I've got your card right here. It is Judy at wellnesspartners.net. Judy at wellnesspartners.net. I'm doing this right now because we're going to go around and give you all a chance to really make sure that someone who's listening to this, maybe in replay, gets their chance to say, I show it to the camera as if somebody's going to be writing it down.
One of the things about that just people need to know about this technology is that it takes time for your cells to reproduce. Okay, cells die off. They are, your GI system, replaces cells just in a few days. Whereas if you're really looking at building cellular health, it does take time. It takes 6 months for your red blood cells to all turn over and have new red blood cells. So this is not a quick fix thing. This is something that you want to be on and stay on so that your body can take advantage of it and so that it can work properly. It's just not going to be an overnight fix.
So at 65, I start to let this product rejuvenate cells that, don't have their infrastructure anymore. So would that be 6.5 months before things?
It'd be 6 months.
Yeah. Okie doke.
And the company stands behind the products. So you can take your products for 6 months, and if you're not seeing any difference, you say, I'm not experiencing anything, I'm not happy, whatever reason, they'll refund your money up to $1,000, which is, I think, pretty impressive because I don't know too many companies that will give you a 6-month satisfaction money back guarantee. But they stand behind their products. And I love they also have a mission in the world to help malnourished children. So they provide products to malnourished children around the world through other organizations like Kids Around the World, that kind of organization. And we provide the supplements for the kids, and it's made a big difference in them too. So I love what I get to do.
Yay. I'm so glad. And I did not mean to ignore Russ Hedge. Okay, so he has 4 shows that I know of, 4 different shows where he invites people on to talk about marketing, talk about life. He is very open about his journey at this point, continuing a journey through cancer. He started these shows when that wasn't part of it at all. In fact, he started these shows when his mom was living with dementia, and he would walk around and do, hold up the phone and just sing songs with her and walk around through the hallways where she was living then, because that was their communication. The music was familiar and they could communicate with each other with joy. And so happy moments with mama, but also a marketer. He's like you, Tracy. It's like, oh, I know that guy. I've seen him. I've heard him talk. He's always, speaker up on the stage for the Alzheimer's walk with the spinning flowers. And, he just didn't stop. But as his life experience has definitely changed, he is bringing in people who have information that he knows how much that has meant to him at this moment. So he's back and forth between business and oncology and health and having more birthdays, all of it. So Russ Hedge was reaching out to you and saying, get a hold of me. So I appreciate that he also came in and championed us today. Lori, let's start with you, and I will let all of you get back to your involvements because you are all helping a lot of people in very specific ways. You're experts in your area. So Lori, just make sure that people understand how to get a hold of you, how to get a hold of the information that you provide. And you go and find solutions for people and you provide it to them. I all of that. You just go right ahead.
LinkedIn. I'm there all the time and message me or whatever. Or on both of the websites, applecareandcompanion.com and agetechnow.com, there is a contact page and it goes directly to me. So someone can put in any questions and I'll get it. So that's probably the easiest rather than emailing me directly. But or anyone can email me directly at laurie@applecareandcompanion.com or laurie@agetechnow.com. So,
and you are based in Dallas because Lori Miller is about as common as Christine Smith.
yeah.
So you're based in Dallas. There will be a green apple somewhere when you're in the right area. And that's so easy to remember. Age Tech Now. So did you want to say anything about where you're headed at the end of this month? And
headed to
why?
the Social Media Marketing World Conference. So it'll be fun to just, fill up my brain with all kinds of new stuff on how to best get my message across to people. I think that's the key. And the right, it's hard. And I wonder if Ben and Tracy feel this way too. It sounds like y'all have been in this kind of aging world for so long. It's like you don't even know the right terms to use outside of our little bubble. You too, Judy, with you're a little different in that you're not in the living side, but it's almost like, what are the right words or phrases to connect with people? And that's really what I'm looking for. Because after almost 20 years in this business, you don't want to use jargon that people don't get, and you really want to know what resonates with people. Mm-hmm. And I think it all is, and that's all the same. I mean, like Judy, just being healthy, and all that goes with that, but be able to get someone where they really, like you said, you looked at your family and you didn't want to age the way they age. And I think that's key to get someone motivated to understand. I mean, I do know now people are more afraid of a dementia diagnosis over a cancer diagnosis. Mm-hmm. And I think we all know with the proper nutrition and movement and purpose in our life, we can help mitigate our risk factors of dementia. And that's really a motivating topic too. But yeah, so I'm excited to learn. I think learning is also good for our brain to keep it fresh and keep us strong. So thank you, Christine, and so good to meet all of you.
You too.
Yay. So Tracy and then Ben, you might be repeating the same information, but that's okay because I see that you have 2 entire buildings. I saw the drone view. So it looks like maybe an original building and then this is going so well. Another building? I don't know. I was just guessing. You go right ahead.
Well, we had built a new building and opened in 2014. And then we took the older building, which was opened in 2000, and that was actually sold and turned into like independent apartments. Okay. And we've moved everybody to the new building.
Wow. So independent living, like independent living, 55 plus or something like that?
No, it's just, it was going to be independent, but no, it's just like individual apartments.
Gotcha. Good. A nice neighborhood to move into.
Yes.
You get to see your neighbors and go, I like this. This is a good place. I want to be here. And
It's very ideal for a family where one of the loved ones is a long-term patient here and the other one, would like to come and visit every day, and they can move into one of these smaller apartments.
oh, that's wonderful. It seems ideal.
Mhm.
It just seems ideal to go, I'm right there. And should I experience a neurological change, should I have needs after surgery or something, boy, I'm just right across the way. They know me. I'm part of the community too. So that's got to feel good all the way around. Everyone who cares and everyone involved. It's like, it's George. Of course. George hasn't come over for a day and a half, and it's like, it's George. We're gonna. He would have. So he's either off on a catamaran somewhere in the Galapagos Islands, as Judy experienced with her parents, or maybe just a friendly hello is a good idea at this moment. So I like that. Ben, you are finishing us up.
Okay, Ben Johnson, Royal Manor Rehabilitation and Healthcare. We are a clean, well-lit place. Well, short-term, you long-term, you whatever you need, we got you taken care of. Give us a call, 254-537-9200, or reach out to us at marketing@royalmanor.net. Our website, as you can see there, www.royalmanor.net. We look forward to talking to you. We're here in Waco, serving all of McLennan County and points north, south, east, and west.
Wonderful. I usually feel so sad at the end of my hour, and I'm going, nope, these people have such important impacts to make, and they have been kind enough to sculpt out this entire hour. I am just happy that I got all 57 and a half minutes with you. Bless your hearts. Thank you. Oh, you know what? We started just a little bit late because my husband popped in. He wanted to talk about social media. I'm really grateful to Russ and to Tracy for popping in with some, oh my goodness. I just looked down. That's Sam Simon. Sam Simon is living well with dementia. He has a whole story on one of my previous episodes. It was only about 12 episodes ago, a whole story having to do with his wife during her long-term illness and what he experienced with her, and then receiving his own diagnosis and what he wanted to do with that. He is dynamic and amazing, and I'm so glad that I got to meet him. Hello, Sam. I'm so glad that you dropped by and let us know that you dropped by. This is wonderful. I get so excited. Oh, good. I noticed it before we signed off. Yes, that was an episode where I was very specifically asking people who were creators in the area of aging, whether it was anti-ageism, whether it was caregiving, how to not become exhausted, or how to develop your life as a caregiver. And then there were also filmmakers who had dealt well with the diagnosis of dementia with a loved one. And Sam Simon said, I'll come in too. So when you look up Dementia Man, he is a one-act play with himself and the inspiration of his time with his wife all melded together. I'm really excited that you all got to at least meet these people in the chat, and I would welcome anyone to get a hold of them for any reason. Hey, thank you. You saw my excitement. Oh, Sam's here. Okay. Yeah, there we go. We're done.